We are live. Welcome, everybody, to our very latest episode of So Get This. And you see, I have a guest here. Her name is Cora Idle, and she is the mistress of awesomeness. She is organizing an event called Ladies of SPN Con, and it is exactly what it sounds like. It is a convention that will be focusing solely on female cast and crew of Supernatural. And I'm very honored and excited to have her here with us. So everybody give a big shout out to Cora.
Hello. How's everybody doing?
Yeah, we're getting some woohoos. All right.
Trust me, I'm not really the worthy yoo-hoo. Sorry, that's...
Oh, well, what you're working on is epic, so I those views. I'm so jealous of whatever you're drinking because I've got water. It's not even my friggin' water.
There's this brand of juice drink concentrates that is called Hawaii's Own or something like that. It's literally just flavorant and sugar water, but I love it for a mixer. So I mixed in my handy dandy flask, I mixed half tequila and half white rum, and I dumped about that much into the bottle glass before filling it the rest of the way with the passion fruit flavored. So,
and she's a mixologist at that.
Oh, thank my mommy for that.
Oh boy!
But yeah, if you want to get hella drunk, and not this is the way to go.
All right. Okay, so we're going to start. I'm trying to locate my questions because everybody who watches knows just how freaking unorganized I am. Yeah. Okay.
I got them open too, so all works out.
Okay, so my first question, and you guys out there, please think of your own questions too, because
there's nothing off limits, but I can't name names. That's the only rule.
Pixar didn't happen, right? So how did you get involved with Supernatural? What was it about the show that got you started watching? Why did you first start watching it, and then what was the hook that kept you watching?
It's actually a funny story. I spent the last couple of years prior to Supernatural and a couple other things without cable because I was trying to save cash. And this was before, I know, right? This is back in the year 2005. Picture.
Damn, all those years ago.
So, I had been living alone, and then I moved in with a woman and her husband in Washington, D.C. So I moved across country from Washington State, which is where I live now, to Washington, D.C. to live with my friend and her husband. Not as weird as it sounds. It was really just me trying to find a new place to be and figure my own self out and stuff. But again, I've been without TV for 4 years at least, maybe. And she got me watching all this stuff on TV that I probably never would have watched if she hadn't been the TV watching type. She made me watch Project Runway. She made me watch Project Runway and America's Next Top Model and some stuff on Sci-Fi. And then Heroes, which was another show that had just started. And is I guess getting a reboot now, which is exciting. I'm not sure I'll tune in though. And also Supernatural, and it seemed interesting just in terms of the premise, like the idea of monsters and mayhem and family and stuff was already something that I was kind of familiar with stuff I'd seen as a kid. Like I used to watch Ghost Rider and Are You Afraid of the Dark and some other campy early 90s. Yeah, so it was right up my alley, and I was willing to give it a shot. I'd never heard of the actors in the show because I hadn't seen anything that they'd been in because I was in high school and then I was in living off the grid more or less. So I tuned in and I kept watching, and there were definitely some hiccups along the beginning where I wasn't sure if I would keep watching because I didn't always agree with the mythology they borrowed from. Mostly it was just a case of, no, that's not how that works. That's not what that goddess does. That's not what that herb does. And I would get really, like, take it a little bit too personal, but then I got over it after convincing myself that, this is fiction, stop taking everything so personally, and I kept watching and I kept watching, and I fell in love with the characters and the story and the humor and the angst and the monsters, and it was literally one of those I can't stop watching it sort of things. And yeah, and 10 years later, here I am. So I was there for promo day, very, very first episode, live on my TV. And
Wow.
one of the few, the proud, the brave. Um, and obviously the first season wasn't exactly on top of its game with its writing, but it consistently got better, and I was very happy for that.
Well, we have a question from one of our viewers, Catherine Smith, and she's asking, what's the hardest part of putting together your own convention?
The fact that I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But that's typical me, classic core. I have done a lot. I'm of the mind where if somebody else isn't doing it, I'll give them a time limit, and if them being like the world, and if it isn't done by a certain amount of time, I get impatient and I do it myself. So far, the big one had been, how do I get a hold of these people? Because obviously I have no contacts, I have no way in. I'm just a casual, well, not casual, but I'm just a watcher like everybody else. I'm just a fangirl like everybody else. What the hell am I doing? So getting a hold of people was the hardest part at first, and then I got a hold of Nikki Acox, who is a saint and the best cheerleader that ever was.
We love Nikki.
And I love her to death, and she right off the bat was 100% behind me and encouraging and wonderful, and started giving me tips on how best to approach people. And then I started tweeting people, and then one person responded that I should get a IMDb Pro account, but that's money that I don't have. So one of the people in my group, my committee, got a 30-day membership, and if by accident it becomes a paid account with actual money, she'll probably cancel it, but she has money in her bank that she can do that and not be overdrawn like if I had done it. So so that's fun. But yeah, emailing and getting a hold of people, I would say, is probably the hardest part so far. Everything else, I mean, I haven't quite gotten to everything else yet. I've made a budget for days, but it's all theory until I actually start pushing numbers and getting responses from venues and caterers and other crap.
Right, right. So, what is your favorite female character and why?
See, when I got that question yesterday, I literally almost wrote you back with, how dare you? Do you know what kind of question you're asking? That's a terrible question. There's no answer. It's too hard. It's like asking someone what their favorite book is. You can't do that. It's too much. If you had a gun to my head and was threatening to take my cats away, I would say probably Joe and Ellen, because I see them as being a unit, and even though they are separate people, their stories are interlinked. And I couldn't have one without the other, in the same way that I couldn't have one brother over the other. So I love them. And don't get me started on the heartbreak there, because that's a whole extra 2 hours of conversation.
Well, it sounds like that's basically the crux of why you're pulling together this event.
Yeah.
So tell us how that even became a spark. How did that start?
Well, part of it is something. It's one of I wanted it, everybody wanted it, and I kept watching people want it forever, and just recently the Kings of Con campaign ended, the Rich and Rob's thing that they're doing, and one of the people on my committee, Taylor, Tay, my darling friend, prior roommate, now lives just a block down the street from me, Because she's like, we gotta go our separate ways, but I want to be close anyway. So that was fun. Invited me over to basically sit with her and hold her hand while she tried not to choke while talking to Rob Rich fuck, what's his name? I'm starting to feel the effects of the alcohol. Matt. Matt was also there, surprisingly. Not so surprisingly. They're all freaking glued to each other. It's crazy.
That's
Um,
considering the family events that have been going on in Matt's life recently. For him just to be that committed to take the time out and do that, that's very
it,
awesome.
it's funny because I see so much of him and me in terms of how he keeps everybody in line and on target. Because like Rob and Rich are just all over the place and goofy and so wonderful. And Matt's like, now we have a schedule. We got to get to
Mm-hmm.
it. I just like I didn't expect that from such a dude. But coming back to the question, we after the conversation was over, because she actually booked one for the two of us, her and me, and then our mutual friend Jason, who she met through me, and the two
Mm-hmm.
of them hit it off immediately. And we sat afterward and we were talking about conventions, and we were talking because we had just finished attending not too recently, or I guess it's Supernatural, the official con in Seattle, which is not actually, it was not actually in Seattle, it was in Bellevue.
It was
And
that fooled the hell out of me. I was vending at that event. Like, why the
right.
fuck is this called Seattle? We're in Bellevue.
We're in Bellevue. Everybody who was there was like, "This is not Seattle. You're a liar." But we talked the whole time about how there weren't a lot of female attendees, or excuse me, guests, but the crowd was phenomenally primarily female, and I'd already been to one other creation con myself, so it was not new to me. And in general, the fandom is primarily made up of females, um, but there's no females in the attending guests, and I was annoyed about that. And like I'd mentioned before, everybody had been talking about wanting more females at events, and I had come across a couple people who were like in the business who were saying, well, the reason they don't invite females is because they don't bring in the money. And I got really upset
Yeah.
about that and angry, and that's essentially what fueled the desire to do it. We were all goofing, talking, saying, hey, wouldn't it be cool if there was a convention that was just the girls? Ha ha ha, no boys allowed. And then I was like, you know what? And I was a little drunk at the time. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And that's essentially how I get myself in a lot of trouble, is just deciding to do everything myself. But I also knew that that was a stupid idea to do it by myself, so I started getting in touch with people that I knew were already kind of in con circuits and had a couple more ideas than I did, because I sure as hell don't know what I'm doing.
So I'm gonna ask our audience. I want you guys to think about and comment on what excites you about this convention. What do you want to see? What do you want to hear? Who are your guests that you would like? And now I'm going to go back to you, Cora, and ask you, what is your ideal lineup for the Superman?
Oh my god!
If you could just pretend the money's all there, pretend
yeah,
the
money is
all there, what would your
option. Everybody's available, and everything syncs up and the stars align. Oh, Loretta Devine, first and foremost. For those of you who are unfamiliar with actor names, she played Missouri Mosley in the first season, and I already knew a lot from Loretta's work because I've seen a lot of her films and guest spots in other shows, and she is an incredible woman and so interesting and such a powerful presence, and it would literally be my dying wish to meet her. So having her come would be just, I would become the worst fangirl alive in terms of just losing all ability to be productive. Because I'd just be like fawning the whole time. So Loretta Devine for sure. It's funny because a lot of the characters on the show have had one or more actresses at one point or another. So Sam Smith and Amy Gummick as Mary, and Genevieve Padalecki and Katie Cassidy as Ruby, and Nikki Acox and Rachel Miner as Meg. Like, I want them obviously, just double it up the whole way down. Um, and Lauren Tom is amazing, of course, and um, I got to meet her at Salute to Seattle,
Mm-hmm.
and her karaoke was amazing. She was just
I missed that. I missed that. Oh.
oh oh man, you really did. She did Uptown Funk, and she's like 5'0",
Yep.
and she had the fade shades on and was just like hopping across the stage in her little heels, and I just could not stop laughing because I normally hate that song, but she just it was a blessed moment that I got to witness. Also, um, Catherine Boucher. She played older Lilith, and then Sierra McCormick played younger Lilith. So that would be another one of those doubles that I would love to have on stage, just to have that juxtaposition of character and archetype, and asking them how they felt about their roles. Because I thought Sierra was amazing, little young
Yeah.
girl actress, and she was incredible. She was
She was killing.
yeah, she
That
slayed.
was really
She
fucking
slayed it.
scary.
And gosh, Sam Ferris and Alona would be amazing
Yeah.
to have in the same place.
I have
And
been trying to get them myself on the show. I love them.
Sam especially. I love her. She reminds me so much of my own mother in like temperament and appearance and attitude, and I adore Samantha Ferris. Sam, if you hear here, please contact me. Okay, call my. I'd be really happy to meet you, and talk to you. Um, but it's so hard to pick. I would love to have a couple of the writers. Rael Tucker is definitely on my high list. She is primarily working on her own project right now, but she also wrote for True Blood, and ran with that show for quite a while, and just she's incredible, and I love her. And Christina Humphreys, I think, as well.
Yep.
I've been talking with the two female directors who have ever been on the show, Jan Ellisberg and Rachel Talalay, and I'm hoping that the stars align properly, because having them there would probably make us 9,000,000% more credible than we currently are. And they're incredible women too. Rachel Talalay mostly works Doctor Who now, and
Okay.
Jan has done a lot of indie movies and personal projects of her own, and it's just there's so many. There's so many. If I could have everybody, I would. But that would be like a week of convention right there.
Well, we're getting some feedback from the audience about who they'd like to see. Catherine Smith wrote, "I would walk to this con if Kim Rhodes or Brianna Buckmaster were there." Mark Lewis.
The come as if you guys tweet them, man. I'm already tweeting everybody all the time.
I know. Mark Lewis is saying Nikki A. Cox. Well, absolutely. And Catherine Smith also mentioned the 200th episode girls, which you're working on. I know that, right?
Yep.
And then Reba Snodgrass mentioned Alona Tal, Cindy Sampson, whom I would love.
Cindy Sampson, see that? Yes, 100% agree with you there, because we've all gotten Jensen's version of the relationship that they had on the show, and I would love to hear Cindy's version and see how she felt about everything, including the way her character was written out. Again, another topic that would probably go on for hours.
To all the ones I've killed before. Like every single Elena Huffman. Catherine mentioned Elena Huffman and Lauren Tom, and Reba mentions Catherine Newton. She's incredibly talented. Yes, Catherine Newton. When I first saw her, the very first episode she had done, I was not quite sure I was feeling it, but towards the end of the episode, I got over it, and I realized, okay, maybe first impressions wasn't the best impression. And then the next episode that she had done, I'm like, oh, okay, you know what? I think we got something. So I really am hoping that season 11 takes Catherine's character and fleshes it out even more, and she becomes more of a constant on the show.
I think the only complaint I had, and it's a nitpicky, stupid complaint that only a over-analyst person would do. I just was really annoyed that they didn't get any of the original actresses to revisit their roles. Like Sydney Imbedo. I don't know if she's even acting anymore. I know she has a Twitter, but I haven't seen any additional talking about things that she does. And the original woman who played um, Amelia Novak. So both the women were different,
Oh, yeah.
and yeah, and that annoyed me. Like, just as somebody with the attention to detail element, I blame my
As if it's not as important for the continuity for a
yeah.
female's role as opposed to a male's role.
And yeah,
I
and
totally.
that's kind of comes back into some of the topics of what I want to bring to the convention. It's like, well, it's not like these women were inaccessible. You obviously got them the first time. Why are you not trying to get them to come back to play the role they originally played? And I kind of get it uh, with Sydney versus Catherine. I mean no disrespect to Catherine as an actress. She's a fantastic actress, but like I remember arguing with a friend of mine who said, well, maybe they didn't call Sydney back because she appeared to be too young, and I was like, and then I went and I looked for pictures, and nope, she's on par in age, so that's a BS excuse.
Right.
But it is what it is, and I understand prior engagements and people maybe not wanting to act anymore. I just came across one of the people I was hoping would appear. I found out through the grapevine that they're not doing interviews and conventions, and wasn't given any more of an explanation than that. And it was a bummer. It was a total bummer because I would have loved to have gotten a chance to meet her. But I understand and I respect the decision. And one of my committee people was like, well, maybe you should just approach it from a charity and safe space angle. And I'm like, well, I could, but I want to be respectful
Right.
too. Maybe I'll try next year if she has a chance to see some YouTube videos and whatnot to see how the response will be then. But yeah.
Some other names that are popping up from our viewers, Tracy Dinwiddie, which
Yes.
I, if oh God,
Yes.
I'm in the same place as you. I can't fucking pick my favorite, but Tracy so far up to the top. Pamela Barnes was an incredible character that they just cast aside like it was nothing, and it pissed me off so badly. Rogue One is saying Ruth Connell. Absolutely. And then Reba is mentioning a Sydney Imbo, Catherine Newton mashup, which is what you were talking about.
That would be amazing. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I would find that to be a very interesting panel. With regards to some of the names, they're not unreachable. I have definitely contacted some of these people already and gotten, some people have bid and some people I have not heard a definite yes or no yet from. It comes to, like, I know everybody thinks of all these amazing people who've been in the last season, but those are like top tier. Like, it's harder to get the people who are most recent because everybody wants them.
Exactly.
Because they're in demand, just like any good economics teacher will tell you. They're gonna want a little more, and that makes it a little bit more difficult. So the only way I can work on making that happen is if we do really well on our crowdfund, and the word gets to them and they respond positively to it, and I get responses from their representatives as quickly as possible. Those are the only ways, and I'll try. Trust me, I'm going to bat with you for you guys as hard as I physically can, pretty much every waking hour.
Well, that's a good segue into my next question, which was actually, what can we do to help you? How
Yes.
can the Supernatural fandom get together and help you realize this dream?
You guys got to be as passionate about this as me, and I know you are. But you gotta think about it from the perspective of the word of mouth thing, where you tell one person and that person knows another person and that person knows another person, and it becomes a branch. That's the only way something like this is going to take off, is if enough people talk about it. and use the
Absolutely.
hashtag and use and tweet me and tweet the actresses and talk about it and bring up things that you would like, questions you would ask if you had the opportunity. Don't expect to get an answer from the mouth or the fingers, as it were, of those actresses at the time, but start to make them realize that there are questions to be had, that there are conversations to be had. And I mean, the biggest one, of course, is when the crowdfund goes live on the 14th, get on there and use the shit out of that hashtag. Make everybody, if we could get it trending, that would be incredible. I'm not going to hold my breath, but please use the
So,
hashtag, use the
so
crowdfund, do the thing.
okay, tell me. I'm putting the hashtag in the chat window. It's hashtag.
Um, SPN Ladies Con. That is the hashtag. I've been
Okay.
using it pretty much
So,
religiously.
all right. So I'm putting. Oh, okay. I put the hashtag in the chat window. SPN Ladies Con, and like Cora said, use the fuck out of this hashtag, and that's the only way to get it trending. It's the only way to become a presence in cyberspace and getting the attention of the people that it needs to. And talk about not just, oh, I'd love to have SPN Ladies Con. Talk about what you would like to happen
Yes.
for SPN Ladies Con. So it gives people, something to think about and something to look forward to. It becomes a more tangible thing and not this abstract idea.
Yeah. And I've had a lot of people in my small social circle asking questions like, well, what do you want to get out of this? I want to get a larger presence known. That is ultimately the biggest thing. I want people to be talking about women characters. I want people to be talking about women crew and how they affect the show. I want people to be talking about wanting longer storylines for women and roles that are not just supporting roles, but allies and people who are there to carry the weight and not just be props for other stories to keep going. Like, that's the only way that we can get these conversations going, is if we unite together and kitschy as it sounds, carry the banner together and come to the con, obviously. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, I live in this tiny town, like I live in Hoboken, I can't come to Seattle for a convention. Well, I'm planning something for that too. So
You're going to Hoboken. I'm sorry, I used to work in Hoboken, so.
I have plans for that. So pay attention to the crowdfunding page when it goes up. Tweet it, tumble it, Facebook it, put it on random bits of paper and stick them in books in the grocery store. Like, talk to everybody who is wearing any sort of supernatural gear, like be it a Samulet or a T-shirt from Unicorn Empire or one of Jody's pieces of amazing jewelry. Anybody who is walking around with even the remote, if you hear somebody on the bus say Supernatural, I want you to whip your head around and be like, there's going to be a ladies' con in the future and you should totally come and give me your email address. I'll send you all the info about it. Don't be afraid, because we're all in this together. And that's the only way something like this is going to come to fruition, is if we all refuse to be quiet about it.
Exactly. And to your point, Reba just mentioned that Nikki literally just tweeted about the crowdfunding just now.
Yep. I love Nikki.
Yeah. Oh, and she just tweeted my necklace. Oh, I love you.
He's not wearing that on stage.
But don't jump off and go to Twitter yet and look at this. Wait, just finish the show, then you can go look.
I'm not done yet.
Don't go yet.
I'm here for you. Ask me all the questions. If you have, even if they're semi irrelevant to the conversation, I am happy to answer any questions you have.
Rogue is asking, have you contacted Hot Topic, or as Cass would say, Hot Topical?
And the reason is this: it is a licensing issue.
Yep.
I would love to have some of their gear there, and there may come a time where I do reach out to them, but honestly, if I get my way, the vendor's room and the artist alley will have 50 billion times more interesting stuff than anything you could find at Hot Topic. So props to Hot Topic for repping the fandom, and I appreciate that, which is still weird for me because I remember being in high school and it was all goth and punk stuff, and now they're doing fandom things and it's weird.
That I'm kind of,
So weird.
it's bittersweet for me because
Yes.
I'm probably a lot older than you. But
Mm,
when Hot Topic first came out, I was so like, oh, finally a clothing store that I don't have to go to the village for.
yeah.
It's in the mall. It
Yep.
was so, because that's where I used to, get all my clothes from. I was a New Yorker, so I would just go and get myself punked out. But to be able to, but being based in New Jersey, I could just go to mall meccas and grab whatever I wanted. And now to see how they've changed into this pop culture,
Become
where
gentrified.
and then at a con you see everybody and their mother wearing the same Hot Topic stuff. I mean, yeah, it's fun, but when a million people have the same thing, it's not special anymore.
There's definitely some truth in that. I mean, I'll admit, on the token of that, it's really nice to have something that's identifiable. Like I remember one of the meetups that my local group did, Seattle Supernatural, which has been going on for a couple years, and I founded that. And that's another story. But right after the T-shirt campaigns became a thing, and coming to one of our meetups right after the shirts all started being shipped off to their respective people, and coming into the room with everybody wearing the same shirt, and I was like, it's like a club meeting. It was it was like that's the badge of honor, so everybody knows exactly what you're for. So it wasn't a case of having a couple stragglers walking around like, where are my nerds? Where are my?
It's
You walk
it's
into
a
the room and they're
uniform.
all wearing the same shirt. It's very obvious to tell what we're all here for. So
Good point.
that's the one benefit to having recognizable gear. But yeah, I agree. There are so many talented artists in this community, and makers and manufacturers, and that's another thing. If I had to say how can a person help, is if you make things, if you are an artist or a crafter of any capacity, by all means, if you have like a couple things you'd be willing to send along to me so that I can add them to some of our perks, because we have quite a few perks, but a lot of them are going to be like manufactured things that we're making to promote the con, or they're going to be emblemed and stuff like that. But it would be cool to open up a bag and, oh, look, it's this pop doll of Charlie in my bag that I didn't have
Or
this.
a bracelet made by some chick named
Or,
Jody.
yeah. So having people who are willing to donate a couple items to toss into the bag, or onto one of the perk trees that we're building, um, would be a really awesome, also great thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be something you've made. Maybe you just are like, well, I have $10 to spare. I'm going to go to the store and I'm going to buy a set of the Hot Topic headbuds that have the little devil's trap on them, and send them off to Cora in Seattle, and she can throw them into a bag. Like, those would be really great ways to help as well, even if.
There's a
And
million different ways you can help, that
oh yeah.
people can help you. I mean, that's a really. I mean, if you think about it, like all you have to do, like, and say you're going through your collection and you realize, well, you know what, maybe this.
Anymore.
I've been there, done that. I enjoyed it, and I'd like to donate it to the cause. Oh, Rogue is saying that she has cupcake recipes.
Supernatural cupcakes.
That would be epic.
Natural
Could
cups.
you imagine?
Oh.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That would be so cool. They could be like red velvet filled with like jelly or something, so you can pretend that you're opening it up and it's like blood coming out.
Oh my god. Well, I've seen those cupcakes with the broken glass on top, and that would be great for like a Bloody Mary themed cupcake.
Ooh, yeah. Loves cupcakes.
And another great thing that I'm noticing a lot, there's a lot of little projects that people are doing in fandom. Like, I was approached actually by a small group of people who are doing an animation project where they're gonna, not the anime, which was what I thought it was originally. I was like, are these people from the anime? Like, are these voiceover actors from the anime? No, they're making an animated like AU season, and they've got voice actors and they've got artists and they've got like cell shaders, and they're making this, and they're gonna do a panel. Like they asked me if they could do a panel, and I'm like, oh yeah, you can do a panel. And I know there's a Twitter going around right now, Pissed Off Sandwich, which is a supernatural cookbook. And I actually have a recipe myself that I'm gonna try and submit to it as soon as I remember to friggin' do it. For the Turducken Slammer that I actually made for
Oh,
Aqua, which is the annual camp out that Seattle Supernatural does.
do they turn into gray slime when you don't eat them?
No, but when you bite into them, cheese oozes out.
Oh, that's great.
That was the only way I could really replicate that without it being weirdly creepy. Um, Sadly, the meat doesn't actually have quino in it. Winkety wink. Uh, that's a Seacon reference by T-Dubs. But yeah, I mean, it would be so awesome to have them there, potentially promoting their book and talking about what brought them to want to make something like that. And anybody who like, I have the privilege of knowing Amber, who is the lady behind the Unicorn Empire, and a lot of fangirls have her shirts all over the place, and I have had conversations about her where she's like, I would love to see them in the wild, like not at a convention. Like if I'm going to the store, if I see somebody wearing it, I kind of just like, and I stare at them from across the way, you know, around the chip aisle corner and stuff like that. So having her talk about what made her decide to do fandom shirts and why Supernatural is such like a big one with her, having people like, I want this to be just as much about all of the wonderful females who make the show as I do about all of the wonderful females who are in the fandom and creating these amazing things, like incredible things. Like I admire all of you. I can't sew for shit. I can barely manage a couple chords on my guitar, and I know a girl who writes fan music, Caitlin Obum. She's on SoundCloud. She has a CD that's music from that was inspired by the show. All y'all are freaking incredible. Y'all are incredible, and I admire you. So I'm trying to give something back to you that I can do, which is to talk way too loud, way too fast, and without much of a filter.
Well, then you blend in perfectly on my show. Okay, Reba has a comment, and she wrote, if you want MCO to help out in any way, just let us know. I'm not familiar with what MCO means, and I apologize, Reba. Can you please tell us what that is? Unless, do you know, are you familiar with MCO?
Not at all.
Okay, so we'll wait for Reba to get back to us and give us more information on that. And then Catherine Smith mentions, do you know that there's a Women of Letters organization?
Yes.
There's a chapter in Dallas, and they may be able to help you with advertising.
Yes, I am very familiar with the Women of Letters. Seattle Supernatural is a chapter of Women of Letters. I speak with a couple of their people on a semi-regular basis. It would be so great to have a couple of them come out to the con. I know all those ladies are very, very busy. But I find their project to be equally incredible, and I extremely admire them. And a friend of mine who knows them got me in touch with them, and the loop closed there. And it's such a great community. Like, it's so easy to get in touch with the right people. All you have to do is say, hey, I have a question. And like 5 people will come at you and be like, here's the thing, here's for you. Enjoy it. Love it. It's yours now.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Reba got back to us. It's Misha Collins online or Misha News on Twitter. So MISHANEWS on Twitter. So
very familiar. They retweet my stuff all the time. I love what you guys are doing. You just keep doing the good work right there. If you want to plug us on the site, that'd be great. I'd love you forever. I'm in the process of having conversations for interviews with a couple other fandom things, SN Radio, Supernatural Crossroads that Hellhound Mike does.
Yeah, I know.
I've got a couple other fandom people who are wanting to talk to me. I'm going to run out of stuff to say. No, I'm not. That's a lie.
Okay, let's get off the beaten track for a minute.
Yeah.
All right, so off the beaten track, what are the first 5 songs in your favorite playlist?
I have been listening to Delta Ray pretty much nonstop. Um, they're amazing. I found them through a fan video for Supernatural, actually. I'm pretty sure if I mention this song in the fan video, everybody will immediately know what it is. Um, Bottom of the River. It was a fan vid. I can't remember who made it, but as soon as I heard the song, I had chills and goosebumps for days,
And
and I
this was
immediately
inspired by the show?
yes.
Oh,
Not the song wasn't, but the fan vid used that song because it
oh
was
okay.
worked in such a fantastic way. So I immediately got online and searched everything they had and learned all of their songs in like a month. And wouldn't you know, within a couple weeks of my learning everything, they actually had a show in Seattle, and I immediately went and I got up to the front and I sang along with them. And at the end of the show, one of the singers, Eric, he came up to me and he's like, "How do you know these songs? Like, these are songs that weren't even they were only stuff that we ever played locally. There's no." I'm like, "You have them on the website. I downloaded everything. It's all so great." So listening to them has pretty been much been my standard for a couple weeks now. So that's
Now I feel
anything.
even older than I already felt because I have no freaking idea who these people
They're
are.
new. They're not an older band. They're new by far. Um, So anything by Delta Ray, but if I had to pick from them, it would be either Bottom of the River, obviously. Chasing Twisters is a really good one as well. I Will Never Die is also a really good one. I originally thought I Will Never Die was a cover of a um, an Aussie song because it
Okay.
his lyric the way the lyrics they wrote were so it was so very much like his style of music that I was like surprised when it wasn't a cover. It was their own song, and I was like, well, that's even more of a reason to love them. So those are the songs I would suggest by them. I've also been listening to a lot of indie artists and old crap. One of my favorite songs is "Cheap and Evil Girl" by Bree Sharp. um, that song is so great, and it's so female empowering, and I love that song. There's a little small EP project that was done by some of my favorite YouTube musicians. The lady behind Pomplamoose and Lauren something. They did a little small project that was called My Terrible Friend, and that entire little EP is incredible, and I love it. But my favorite on that one would probably be what was the name of that song? I'm trying to remember the lyrics. Something's wrong with the daylight here. I think the name of the song. It's very I don't know. Just recently, like swamp rock and gothic rock have just been my jam. Give me anything. Dorothy is another little band that they just I just found them. They're real new as well, but their lead singer is amazing, and I can't wait to see what goes on with them in the future. And then of course there's Nina Winkler, who played Castiel in the 200th episode. She has a CD, and I just started listening to the Black Whiskey Union with Britt Sheridan, who
Oh,
plays.
I love that. That
And it's
I know.
fantastic. So yeah, I mean, there's a big theme for me because I love music and I consider myself a musician. Um, I want music to be a big part of this as well. So one of the things that we're planning on doing is having something like a benefit concert. I'm still debating whether or not to charge additional for that. Um, I think it'll depend on what the crowdfund looks like.
Yeah.
Um, but Nikki sings, and Britt Sheridan has a band, and Nina has a band, and a lot of the girls in the 200th episode have done bit pieces and stuff. And I'm bringing Caitlin to come. Caitlin Owen is coming. I'm potentially thinking about talking to some very famous uh, parody musicians right now. That's still in the works, though. Nothing is set in stone just yet. Um, I'm not gonna tell. I'm pretty sure everybody knows, but I'm not gonna say who it is. Um, but yeah, like music is a thing that I want to bring, and I think that would be a real fun experience that isn't done at most cons. I think. So yeah,
Anita,
that's very
I'm sorry
long.
to interrupt. Anita is asking if you like Loudon Swain and Jason Mans.
Of course, Who would I be not to love them? They're great. I think Rob especially is like, I didn't know until after I had already been to VanCon in, God, what year was that? 2013, I think. It
I
was
was
right after I graduated college. Um, I didn't know he was in a band until after that con because he brought it up in one of his questions. And I immediately went home and listened to a bunch of his stuff, and it's fantastic. And Jason Manns, I mean, he's not technically, his music isn't technically on the show, but everybody loves him. Everybody in the cast loves him.
yeah.
So I went and I listened to some of his music, and I think he had the one song, the one that was on the iPod that Sam played right after Dean came back from hell, and he turned it on, and it was that song by Jason Manns, and he immediately turned it off and threw the iPod in the back seat. Classic Dean. Um, so yeah, I mean, yeah, their stuff is great. I find myself going more towards like multifaceted bands, like male female cover type bands,
Hmm.
not cover bands, but like everybody has, like, it's not necessarily choral, but it's ensemble. I love ensemble. It just, for me, ensemble music has always just been really emotionally charged, and I've always loved
Yeah.
it. So. Mhm.
Right, well, we are getting to the part of our show where I ask a trivia question. And the prize for the trivia question is a $50 gift certificate to my shop.
Well worth it.
So, all right, I have to read my question. All right, so we are the theme of today's show is strong female supernatural characters. And this is a question about Lisa. It's a Lisa quote that you need to finish. And you have to finish it, and it has to be spelled correctly because I'm a grammar Nazi. So, all right. Da, 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 da. Okay, so this is from the episode You Can't Handle the Truth. And Dean is on the phone with Lisa, and Lisa says, yeah, but I didn't expect Sam to come back, and I'm glad he's okay. I am, but the minute he walked through that door, I knew it was over. You two have the most unhealthy, tangled up, crazy thing that I've ever seen. And as long as he's in your life, boom, was the rest of that sentence. As long as he's in your life, was the rest of that. And the first person to put it in its entirety, spelled correctly, no typos or anything, because I'm nuts like that, will win a $50 gift certificate to my shop. Yay! And what I am going to do right now, very quickly, is while we're waiting for our friends to answer, I am going to read the names of our supporters for the Always Keep Fighting campaign. We have raised to date $1,353 for Always Keep Fighting. And I heard from Cliff a couple of days ago. I asked him to please make sure Jared gets that information, and Jared is very happy. He said awesome, and he's really excited. So thank you all for that. I'm going to read the names, and if I massacre anybody's name, you know
Where to find her.
Yeah, you know where I am in cyber world. Okay, so here we go. Vesna Faratek. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Before I even start reading, I see that Catherine Smith has already answered, and it's correct. You're never gonna be happy, and that is correct. Have you won from me in the past, like, few weeks or so? I'm not sure. I don't remember. I'm trying to remember, and I didn't put my stipulations before, so
It's too late. No take backsies.
yeah, I know. So, like, it's, it is what it is, what it is. And I'm happy that you won, Catherine. What you need to do is email me. And my email address is eldwin@yahoo.com.
Spelled exactly the way her Twitter handle is.
Exactly. So then you just email me in the subject line. Please put, contest winner and today's date. And in the email, I will write back to you and explain how the gift certificate works. Woo! Okay, well, okay, so there's another, I know another Catherine had one recently, and I am so happy. Thank you, Catherine Smith. Woohoo! Okay, so now I'm going to quickly read these names. Um, Vesna Faratek, Pamela Lancaster, Jerry Hessen, Heather Traver, Amanda Traver, Anne Franzen, Manila Mercurio, Stephanie Goitan, Susan Hall, who is one of the Winchester Bros, um, Anne Marie Satuela, who's my girl. She's one of my best friends. I love her to death. Tiffany Childs, Nancy McGinnis, Lorianne Zimmerman, Patricia Reeves, Jukinthe, and again, if I mispronounced that, I'm sure I mispronounced it every week. Norman, Desiree Sterite, Melissa Crumpton, Kay Bauer, Renee Carroll, Danielle, this name always trips me too, La Ferriere, Laura Sherman, Amanda Traver again, Annabelle DiBattista, Jane Herman, Wendy Dunn, Jane Hightower, Tanya Funderburg, Mitch Kosterman, woo! Kelsey Spears, Spencer Lindstedt, Jenna Hawking, Barbara Riggs, Jacqueline Kirk, Stacy Kleinendorst, Catherine Buchhorn, Laurel Stevenson, excuse me, Laura Andrews, Stephanie Camp, Janet McDonald, Barbara Packett, Jennifer Davis, Karen Larson, Darlinda Diaz-Gonzalez, Shonda Whitaker, Allison Farabee, Andrea Stock, Amy Renaud, Donna Smallridge, Jessie, who's so cool, she just needs one name, Tara Warfield, Carol Palmer, Constance Kakor, Kristen Dolan, Catherine Webb, Amy Chetwold, and I believe I said her name earlier too, Rachel Jack, Preeti Thukral, Becky Gilraith, who is another member of Winchester Bros, Amanda Gillespie, Terry Whitaker, Christine Incalcatera, Lauren Vignola, Becky Maddox, Margaret McElwee, Becky Gilraith, again, and Mitch Kosterman, again. Yeah. Lisa Tomko, again, I think I read her name earlier. Kendra Campbell, Carrie Anderson, who's usually in my audience. I didn't see her tonight. Cassandra Hankin, excuse me, Tiffany Childs, Skylar Kavanaugh, Stephanie Lott, Susan Treitz, Carol Dobson, Julia Casey, Leah Schneider, Paulette Gasman, Jen Hathaway, Sheila Salim, Amy Tretwold, okay, that's the second, Amy Tretwold, Carrie Beasy, Laura Mahegan, Marta Simmons, Vicki Bennell, Frances Brown, Jerry Hassan again, Jane Hightower again, Debbie Bachman, who was a guest several weeks ago, and Maria Maylett. Thank you all. Each of you have helped us raise $1,353 for Always Keep Fighting. And
see how easy it is? How just a little bit you add to such a larger amount. Like, that's incredible. You guys are doing a phenomenal thing.
And what really struck me about this campaign too, and by the way, this campaign is far from over. It's never ending. This doesn't stop. So please share the information, share the link. The reason why we were able to raise all this money is because not only were people buying it, but people were buying more than one and donating them to friends or to other fans who couldn't afford one, people that they thought needed one. I mean, the amount of support in this fandom is unreal. It really is. It's mind-blowing. And
I recognize so many names on that list.
Fantastic. Look, Manila is saying, hi, Jen. Anita, go Winchester Bros. Always keep fighting.
Always.
I don't know what's happening to me. I keep joking.
Manila is one of the people in Seattle Supernatural, and I love her to pieces. So hearing immediately was just like, that's another thread in the web. Y'all are connecting to each other, and it's so fantastic. Like, we at Seattle Supernatural, we call our meetups reunions because that's what they are. We are all a part of this family, and even if you haven't met them, they are still part of this family. Maybe that makes us sound like a mafia, but we're the mafia of kindness, so that's all that matters.
Oh, that's epic. I'm going to ask you a final question. And then that will lead us into I have a major kick-ass guest announcement that I'll get into after your question. So the question is actually
42.
is more like finish this thought. All you need is
A cup of tea.
what?
A good cup of tea.
A good
None of
cup
that
of
tea
tea.
bag nonsense. An actual loose leaf, properly brewed cup of tea.
Well, that's definitely a different answer than I've gotten from most people. That's great.
Yeah, I heard cheese last week.
Yeah. See, at first I thought Sam said teeth. So that's why
Well, yeah, that is an
I'm
important.
gonna put this over my kids' toothbrushes. But yeah, cheese is really right up there with teeth.
And cheese. That sounds like an excellent little perk item that I should add to the list.
Tea and cheese. Cheese and tea. Cheesy tea.
Thank you for having me, and thank you all for coming and listening to me ramble. Again, I appreciate you dearly. And tweet me, Tumblr me, Facebook me, all the things. I am on all of the social media, and
It's
I am always
SPN
willing to talk.
ladies, or I'm sorry, ladies of SPN
Ladies of
Con.
SPN. Yep.
Ladies of SPN Con, please follow, tweet, stalk, do whatever you can. Word of mouth is how this is going to happen for everybody.
Yes.
And okay. Oh, Rogue said, ask Ruth. She'll make you one. I guess the cup of tea.
I would happily have a cup of tea with Ruth O'Connell. Like,
You should make that a perk.
you know what? If she agrees to come, that'll be a perk.
That's a perk.
I know all the right good places to have tea in Seattle, so it'll work out perfectly.
And it's not Starbucks. Please say it's
No! Just because I'm from Seattle doesn't mean that I drink garbage. No thanks.
Okay, so is everybody sitting? Everybody's gripping the edge of their seats? My special guest is not going to be next week. It's going to be this Friday at, oh shit, what time did I say it was going to be? I will get back to you at the time. I forgot. But this Friday night will be a special edition of So Get This, and my guest will be some dude named Travis Aaron Wade. Yeah. Cole's going to be in the house on Friday night. I will tweet the link. I will tweet the right time because I have Swiss cheese for brains, and my son is giving me rabbit ears. Say hi. You know, you're gonna put bunny ears on. This is my son Jaden. He's my 13-year-old, and his claim to fame is that he was told by Osric, "You look like a little me."
That's an excellent compliment. Also, just in case all y'all don't know about it, Travis has a thing that he's doing now. It's called Truth, and there's the number 4 in there. He's auctioning off some of his items that he's had in productions such as Supernatural. He's donating the money to charity. It's on Facebook. He's been tweeting about it. If you guys aren't already following it, you absolutely should. And buy some of the things that he's putting up, because it's just in the same way that everybody else in this fandom and in this family is being. We all care about charity and we love supporting charity, and that's another thing with Ladies of Supernatural Con. We are donating every dollar that is not being made for getting the space and getting the talent there and back home when they're done. All of it's going to charity, every single dime. So
all profits,
all of it,
charity.
Yes,
which makes it even more, special and important that we support this. This isn't about a money maker for personal.
No.
This is about raising money for charities that are meaningful to the cast, the crew, and the fans.
And I promise the tickets will be super affordable. You have my word.
Yeah. We were talking, Cora and I were talking last night, and she's got such an amazing vision for how this is going to happen, and the wonderful things that you guys will get. It's up to everybody to pull their weight and make it happen. And again, hashtag Ladies of SPN Con. Hashtag the shit out of it. Put it as an auto thing in your phone. just, you know, make sure you work it into your schedule. Okay, it's 1 o'clock. I gotta tweet the hashtag. Okay,
Daily,
it's 2
daily
o'clock. I gotta go
hashtag
tweet
alert.
the hashtag.
Ooh, 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 ooh. I love you guys. Seriously, you're all wonderful, and I can't wait to meet every single one of you when you show up. If you show up, please do.
We will.
And I will see y'all later.
Thank you so much, Cora. We really appreciate your time and all of the work that you're doing to make this happen.
You are the freaking power cord to my Xbox, all y'all, for real. Like,
that's the best compliment I've ever gotten. That's awesome.
Like
that's epic. I love it.
I am inspired and motivated by y'all as much as I am about one. If this was a show and I was the only one there, then that would be awesome. But I don't want it to be just me. I want it to be everybody. I want us all to have a great time. So come, talk about it, talk to me. I can't wait to meet y'all. Mwah.
Mwah. Thank you, Cora.
Bye.
Take care. Wow. Okay. So thank you all for watching and supporting this amazing event. Please make sure you spread the word to everybody. And I also just wanted to give you a quick reminder too that I really needed for all those wonderful people who've supported the Always Keep Fighting, the I Am Stigma Free campaign. I need your photos to be tweeted with hashtag Always Keep Fighting Eldwin. So that way I will be able to pull your pictures and put them in a book that I'm making that I will be giving to Jared at DCCon. I am leaving on a massive road trip next week. We're going back home to Jersey, and I need to have everything before I make that trip. So if you've not already tweeted me, please do hashtag AKF Eldwin. And again, remember Friday, I will be having Mr. Travis Aaron Wade get your pictures. I'm reading Manila's chat. I forgot the picture. It's not too late. Get your questions ready. He's going to be here in full force for an hour with us, and I will tweet all the details shortly. Have a good night, y'all. Thank you. Bye.
I just said y'all.
I just said y'all. Yeah, again. Bye.